Although quality checking, packing up, and shipping twin turbo vices has been by far my primary focus, I've been able to eke out just enough time on the Adam Savage bench build to get the bench dogs done, so that's what I'm going to show you today. So I'm building these dogs a bit differently than I did on my workbench. You can see what I did previously for the dogs in this video here, but the first step on this new design is to tap holes at the end of these pipes, and I do that with my new mag drill. This is the Disruptor 55, and it sure makes short work of quite a few taps. Now I thread in the 9/16 rod until it jams and refuses to go any further. A lot of people commented on Instagram that I could jam two nuts together instead of ruining the threads at the end of the rod. The thing is, it's an offcut at the end that I can't use anyway, so not that big a deal. And I didn't have any 9/16 nuts to use. So I thought pretty hard about the best way to make the round wooden tops for the dogs, and I ended up using a hole saw as a giant plug cutter by removing the center drill bit. And if you want to duplicate this dog build, the exact carbide tipped hole saw that I purchased from McMaster Carr, that link is in the description. Now, cutting the holes was just the perfect application for this drill press vise that I build and offer free plans for. The video that's popping up here gives all the details. I was able to roughly position the piece of wood just by its position in the jaws, and then finely tune the position with the two magnets. So this was really fast. It would have been a lot slower trying to clamp it to the table each time. Just a great application. So that leads me to the question, do you think mag switch drill press vise bases should be a thing? Let me know in the comments. Now 40mm Forstner bit is the perfect complementing bit to go with that hole saw. Mag Switch actually sells these, so I can give you a link in the description for 10% off. There's just a little bit of fine tuning that needs to be done to get a good snug fit, and that goes pretty fast if you actually turn the disc sander on.
Now look how nice it is. Yeah.
Now I need to drill a pilot hole for the thread taps, and I get that centered perfectly by first putting two pieces of wood on the drill press fence and clamping them down with a little gap in between. I drill out a hole with the 40mm bit that I just mentioned, and now I know that hole is centered under the bit. I just change the bit out to the pilot drill bit size that I need, and I can clamp each of the circles in and quickly drill right in the center. Now I can use my drill press vise again as sort of a remote workstation along with Rockler's new very awesome portable drill guide, link in description. I'll talk more about it later, to do the tapping, just to make sure that the taps are perfectly or very perpendicular to the wood tops. Now I make a little setup block to mark a line 1/4 inch in from the side of the dogs going with the grain, and I'm going to cut them. On that line I have a 2-degree angle on the bandsaw, just so that the dogs are slightly larger at the top than the bottom, so that when they rack a little bit, because there's a little bit of play in the holes, they end up flush with the workpiece. Now I sand each side a bit and glue cork rubber onto the dog. Now I use the Rockler portable drill guide again to drill the 40mm holes, and then the 3/4 inch hole for the post of the dog. Now, just to mention, I'm not getting paid to show off this Rockler portable drill guide. They did give it to me for free. I volunteered to show it off just because I think they did a really good job with it. You know, if something's great, I want to show it to you and not make a big deal about getting sponsorship payments. So that's the story there. Now the offcut is what gets glued in to keep a flat, even surface on the bench, and I saw and plane each of the dogs flat and flush with the bench. And since you don't want a bench to be too slippery, I rough it up after planing with 80 grit sandpaper. Now, Rockler drill guide to the rescue again for the 3/8 inch hole for the magnet that holds the dog up. Now these magnets are cylinder magnets, but they're diametrically magnetized, so north and south poles are on either side of the cylinder, so I mark one of the poles because I want it to be facing the dog. That's how you get the most clamping force on that post. And I keep it in that orientation as I drive it in and just top off with some glue to hold it in place. And now I have a dog that can be held up at any position that I need for optimal clamping on any workpiece, and with a hole that is circular and works for a hold fast. And unlike my old design with magnets in a strip, having the diametrically polarized magnet in line with the post is actually stronger and can hold up the hold fast. So if you're doing an operation where you have a lot of workpieces to change in and out, those hold fasts can stay elevated while you swap out workpieces. It's a little thing, but it's a thing. Now, someone on Instagram asked a great question, and that was, am I worried about the hold fast crushing the magnet because it puts pressure on the top of that hole? And that could be an issue if I didn't put the magnet where I put it on the inside bench side of that hole, because there's no way that hold fast can be clamping a workpiece outside the bench, which is where it would need to be to put pressure on that edge of the hole. Things get a little bit more complicated on the 4 dogs that I have that are on the inside of the bench, because they could potentially be clamping in any direction, so there's no quote-unquote safe place to put the magnet. And for those, it takes a little bit more extra effort. I drill the hole deeper so that the top of the magnet is probably about 5/8 of an inch down below the top of that 3/4 inch hole, and then just drive a dowel into the top. So that dowel will be taking the force from the hold fast when it's jammed into place. It's only the very top of the hole where this is a problem. The magnet will be safe down below. So if you have some interior dogs and you're worried about that, better to go the extra mile. And there it is. Adam Savage's bench has dogs. If you really want to build these dogs, I have some more advice in the video description. But that's all for now.